Okay, so I placed an Ulta order last week because there was a new product that caught my eye. So LA Girl actually launched some new eyeshadow palettes. I'm a big fan of LA Girl's formula in general, but I just thought these looked really pretty. I liked the color stories. I liked the description of the texture. So these are their new On Cloud 9 Bouncy eyeshadow palettes. I did grab two of them. This first one is Airy Taupe, which is pretty cool toned overall. I kind of wish this shade was a little bit different, because if that was a different color, it would have been like the perfect fully cool palette, but I'm still excited to try this one. And then they also did Breezy Nude. Like, these look so nice for $8. I couldn't really believe the price. A lot of drugstore brands, as we know, if you've been watching a lot of my recent videos or just if you've been to the store in general, have been increasing their prices. So a lot of the newest launches are like $12, $15, even up to $18. So it's kind of nice to see some products under the $10 price point. Not that these reminded me of Natasha Denona, but I did recently purchase this Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt palette, which I've actually been loving. I promise I have a video coming on some new high-end makeup too. I've been doing like drugstore video after drugstore video, which drugstore content is a big focus of my channel, but there have just been so many new drugstore launches. It's the beginning of the year, so a ton of them are doing like new products, new collections, and I've just wanted to put them to the test for you. Anyway, I have been enjoying this Natasha Denona palette. Obviously, these aren't meant to be the exact same thing, but I did pick this up specifically for travel just because it's small and compact and it has all of what I would consider to be like my staple shadows for every day. But I do love shimmers, so I'm curious to see if these could be like a good travel palette, a good everyday palette. So I have these two palettes. I have a bunch of other products as well that I thought I would test out alongside of these. A couple of products I featured in some previous videos, and then a couple of other like true first impressions. So stay tuned, because as always, I will come back and share full reviews. But I've just had fun applying the products for the first time on camera with you, doing like these first impressions videos so you can see how the products initially apply and just kind of my thought process as I test them out. I have to test them out off camera anyway, so I might as well film it and hang out with you. Okay, so I did prep my eyes with a little bit of concealer and powder, and then this is just the ColourPop Fresh Kiss Glossy Lip Balm. So many of you told me you picked these up after seeing my dupes video where I compared them to the Summer Fridays lip butter balms, and you're loving them, and that makes me so happy because I was truly so excited about this product. It is so moisturizing, so nourishing, and it just smells good. This one is Strawberry Milk, which is my favorite. It's just, I want everything strawberry scented this year. Okay, let's start with the base. So Hard Candy just launched a new primer. This is the Just Glow Luminizer. It does come in 3 different shades. I wasn't sure if I should go with the lighter gold, but I don't really have a lot of like pink toned or rosy glowy base products. Like, a lot of them are more of a true gold, so I thought this would be a fun option. So you can use this product a couple of different ways. You can use it alone just for a glowy look. You can mix it in with your foundation or use it as an actual highlighter. Oh, I hope this isn't too dark for me. It looks a little bit bronzier than I thought, but that is a lot of products. So if I was, you know, mixing that in with something, that might be fine, but I'm just going to apply this on its own. Okay, this is actually a pretty pigmented product. I almost wonder if I should have mixed it with something, but I mean, it's drying down kind of quickly. So I've been using bronzing drops a lot this year, which do give like a nice glow, a nice bronzy look to the skin. But usually I mix them with something to kind of sheer them out. This is almost making my skin look bright red. I don't know that the pink option was the most ideal for my skin tone, just because my face tends to be pretty red anyway. Okay, you know what? I had to wipe that off and start over. I don't know that this is the most ideal shade for my skin tone, but this actually has a lot more pigment than I initially thought it was going to. A lot of these like all over glowy luminizers end up being super sheer. So I just kind of went in with a little bit too much, and that is not the way to go with this product. So let's start over. I'm actually going to mix it. So I just have this primer right here. It's the Essence Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. I was just using that in a recent video, and I'm going to mix in like that much of this product. You probably could use this as like an all over base product, but because it is a little bit more intense than I initially thought, if you don't want a ton of color, a ton of pigment, it's probably going to be more ideal to mix it. Yeah, that is a lot better. Okay, so here's what it looks like on the skin mixed with the Glow Serum Primer. It's very, very glowy, and this product does add glow to the skin, but not to this extent. It's more of like a nice hydrated glow, like I just applied a good amount of moisturizer, whereas like this glow is definitely from the actual primer. I'm just mixing 2 shades of the Catrice True Skin Foundation. So I have Neutral Sand, and then I also have Cool Nude. Neutral Sand is normally like my go-to shade, but during the winter, I usually mix a little bit of a lighter shade in there as well. And this is definitely more of a full coverage. Oh, wow. So even with using the Glow Serum Primer, which normally preps my skin pretty well, like it definitely leaves my skin feeling moisturized, and products tend to glide on the skin, it almost feels like my skin is more on the matte side, even though it looks glowy. Like that product dries down and doesn't have any sort of slip to it, which is interesting. I don't try a lot of glowy base products that fully dry down like that. I almost wonder if that could be a great option if you have oily skin, because sometimes you have oily skin and you want a glowy base product, but you don't want your makeup to slip around. And so many glowy base products are also meant to be incredibly moisturizing, smoothing, and they can just create like a slippery or slick base, so your makeup won't last as long. But this dried down. Even though my skin looks like it would be kind of moisturized, it doesn't really feel like that as I'm applying the makeup, which could actually be really great in terms of, extending the wear of my makeup. But anyway, we'll see if the glow shines through the foundation once I have it in place. This really is my favorite foundation, but I actually haven't worn it a ton in 2025 so far. I've been using the Milani Skin Tint stick so much. And then when I'm not using that, I'm using the e.l.f. Soft Glam Foundation. So it's weird going back to this one because I'm used to just like very light products that blend in 2 seconds. And I always considered this to be like a fairly quick foundation. But as with any like more full coverage, long wearing foundation, it just takes a little bit longer to actually apply and get it to look really even. Okay, foundation is on. That redness is evened out, thankfully. My skin was just kind of red before I even went in with this primer, and then that enhanced it. But you know what? This looks pretty under the foundation. Like I said, this is more of a full coverage foundation, but you can still see the glow underneath, which is nice. But I like the fact that it dried down to more of a matte finish, and it didn't feel, or it doesn't look greasy on my skin. I don't know that this will be ideal as a liquid highlighter because you would have to work so fast, like almost instantly. Otherwise, it would dry and probably not move very well on the skin. I'm actually going to do the eyes before I do the cheeks, just because these LA Girl palettes do have some really pretty sparkly shades. So I don't know if there's going to be fallout. Okay, I just wanted to swatch these. So this one is Airy Taupe. I think this is the one I'll probably end up going for in today's video, just because it is a little bit cooler. These swatch nicely. They definitely feel very similar to like the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, where it is that creamy texture. And then as you're blending it on the hand, it kind of feels more like a powder. And then this one is Breezy Nude. It definitely swatched a little bit softer than I thought it was going to, just based on how it looks in the pan. So I wonder if you can build these shadows up. Let's go with Breezy Nude, just because there are some pretty pinks in here, and I did want to do kind of like a Valentine's Day inspired look. So I'm going to start with this shade. I don't know that that will really show up on my skin tone, but I'll start with that and then I'll go into this one. I'm curious to know if these are buildable shadows because they do market them that way. So I do think ColourPop has some matte, wait, yeah, this shade does not look the same on the eyes as it does in the pan. In the pan, it's like a warm, kind of like peachy tone, and on the eyes, it looks, I don't know, it kind of looks white. For the sake of consistency, let me apply it to this eye, and then I'll go in with the pink shadow. But what was I saying? I think ColourPop does have some matte Super Shock shadows, but for the most part, I've only used the shimmer ones for the last few years. Let's try that pink shade. So these are definitely softer on the eyes than I thought they were going to be. If you want pigment when it comes to your shadows, I don't know that these are going to be the palettes for you. Just based on my initial swatches, it seems like the shimmers in the palettes are going to be the standout shades. And then the mattes, I mean, some people do like an incredibly sheer shadow, but these are super sheer. I mean, they're applying well. There's no patchiness, no fallout. They look very, very smooth, but they're not really showing up that well. Let's take the deepest shadow in the palette and kind of build that up a little bit, or see if I can build it up. Because this is like a cream to powder formula, I feel like the most ideal way to use it is to kind of like stamp it on the lids. It reminds me a little bit of Natasha Denona's like creamy matte formula, which I do like because overall I just get a very smooth look, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I mean, the more that I'm using it, that really is what it reminds me of. But I think Natasha Denona's formula in general, I mean, has a lot more pigment to it. So that's what it looks like kind of stamped on. I mean, really no patchiness at all. It's super quick and easy to use. There's just really no color payoff. Maybe the dark brown in this palette, the Airy Taupe palette, will show up a little bit better on the eyes. So I'm going to take this and just kind of pat it. I'm going to really load up the brush and kind of tap off the excess and then pat it in the outer corner just to see if this one's a little bit more intense. Yeah, that one definitely is. So maybe my issue with the other shades was that I used too fluffy of a brush and didn't really like load the brush up. That could definitely be the case. And for me, when it comes to like the ColourPop formula, for instance, I don't even like using a brush with it. I like to just really pack it on with my finger. It's just, I don't know that that would be the most ideal for matte shadows. I guess if you're going all over the lid, that would be good. But if I want more of a blended look, I guess I could pack it on and then blend it out with a brush. I'm going to go back to the Breezy Nude palette and take this center shade, and then I might go in with a little bit of this on top. I don't see there being any kind of issue with this shadow. Yeah, this is really, really pretty. Yeah, I mean, very, very similar to ColourPop. Maybe a little bit less intense, but I feel like you could build it up. There really is no fallout. I guess I didn't really need to do my eyes first. I just wasn't sure if there was going to be. I personally don't have any fallout or experience any fallout with the ColourPop shadows, but I know some people say they do. I really like this shadow. This looks so pretty. It just gives your eyes like that wet looking shine, and it's applying perfectly. And honestly, the tones in this palette are beautiful. I'm just going to take this LA Girl pencil liner to tightline, and then I think I'm actually just going to use shadow to create a wing. All right, I'll start with that dark brown shadow in the palette just on a liner brush. I think that might end up being just, oh, is it too soft? Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit too soft. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. I closed my eyes before that LA Girl liner had the chance to dry. Normally that stays in place really, really well, but you can't like close your eyes until it fully dries down. You know what? That looks fine as a winged liner. I like that it's a little bit softer. Okay, that was a little bit of a process, but I think I'm pretty much done with the eyes. I mean, I will do mascara and then I'll just blend a little bit of shadow on the lower lash line, but for now I'm good. I'm actually going to mix two concealers. So this is the Catrice, why am I looking at it like I don't know what it is? It's my favorite concealer, the True Skin concealer in the shade Cool Cashmere. And then I just mixed in a tiny bit of the the JCat Beauty Staysurance concealer in the shade Buff. Okay, I'm going to give that a second to dry down. I'm going to try out some new cheek products from CoverGirl. So these are the Skin Enhancer. I mean, they're different products. So there's a contour balm, a blush balm, and then there's also a highlighter, a pearl highlighter balm. So the highlighter is not available on Ulta's website. You can get the contour and the blush, and then they are on Amazon. They're probably at Walmart too. I'll link them in the description box below where I can find them. At Ulta, they are $12.99 each, and then on Amazon, these are about $10. These actually came out, I think, like end of December. Initially, I skipped over them just because at the time, I wasn't sure. Wow, that is a cool toned, well, I was going to say bronzer, but contour. This is in the shade Defined. Okay, it's very creamy. It does sheer out quite a bit. Is that going to look good on my skin? I don't know. I'm just going to apply it directly to my brush. This is the e.l.f. Complexion Duo brush. I need a new one. I was just washing it and I broke it. I don't know how long I've had this. I mean, I have a couple of these, but I've mainly just been like rewashing this one and using it for the last few months. And I don't know about this color on me. If you like a cool toned contour, you will like this. And it's a fine line because I don't always love a super orangey bronzer. I kind of like a bronzer that is warm, but just not full on orangey. There goes the other side of my brush. These e.l.f. brushes hold up so well, but if it is a favorite and I'm like constantly rewashing it, sometimes it does end up breaking. And my husband, he's so sweet. He washes my brushes for me all the time, but I don't think he is quite as gentle as I am when I'm washing them. Okay, the formula of this product is really nice. Like, it's very creamy. It blends out so well. That is not my color. Like, look at it on my forehead. That is not the shade for me. That's like the true definition of muddy. And it's not the formula that looks muddy, it's just like the actual shade. It's just a little bit too cool. That is the lightest shade. There are 4 shades, and I think the next one is darker, but it's also warmer. So if I love the way this formula wears, I might end up grabbing it. The texture of this product is actually really nice though. It's creamy, so it applies to the brush perfectly. even to the skin perfectly. Like, I'm not usually a big fan of swiping the product that color. I'm not usually a fan of swiping the product directly on my skin, but I almost think I might be able to with the texture of this. Definitely not my shade. I mean, it looks full on gray on me. You know, I did get this LA Girl duo as well. And initially I was going to apply it after I fully set everything because I wasn't sure if it was more of a true powder or a cream to powder. But after using the eyeshadows, I almost think I'm going to love the way this looks. Again, probably similar to the ColourPop Super Shock cheek products. So let's take a little bit of this bronzer and just kind of go over it to erase some of that gray. Yeah, that looks better. So this actually, okay, this is applying nicely. Again, it is a cream to powder, but it looks smooth on the skin. So when I initially got this, I was kind of intimidated. This is the lightest duo. There are 3 different duos, and online this one looks a little bit lighter than it does in person, but this is a pretty soft formula overall. I mean, I wonder if you can build the cheek products up a little bit more than the eyeshadows, just because usually when it comes to cheek products, you are using, well, at least for me with creams, I'm using a little bit more of a dense brush. Here's what the swatches look like compared to what it looks like in the pan. So definitely a soft sheer formula. Let me just blend out the concealer before I go in with blush. I feel like when I'm filming these videos, I do my makeup typically the same way I would do it when I'm not filming. So I like apply the concealer, let it dry a little bit, but since I'm like actually sitting here and talking, I don't feel like I should do that because then it sits on my skin a little bit too long. I'm just going to apply a little bit of this bronzer on my nose. You know what? I might actually take this blush. I was originally going to do the CoverGirl blush, which they're pretty similar in tone. You know what? Let's just, maybe we'll use both. I don't know if this video feels chaotic to you, but like this entire makeup process to me feels a little bit all over the place. So I apologize. It's one of those makeup application processes. This is so pretty. I'm actually really impressed by the formula of these. I mean, that's not perfectly blended out or anything, but it's going on so nicely. It's creamy without being overly creamy. That's my issue with a lot of cream products. I feel like I can tend to be kind of picky when it comes to creams and stick products especially because sometimes they're kind of dry, sometimes they look a little bit oily on the skin. This is going on so nicely. It really is the perfect texture. So this actually comes in 4 different shades. I mean, I think you could probably build these up, especially if you go in and draw them directly on the skin, but they have like this velvety texture to them and they're not glowy. I mean, I think if you're seeing any kind of glow, it's just from the products underneath. They almost have more of like a true satin finish. It's really applying just so nicely though. So pretty. So I'm excited to wear this and see how it holds up throughout the day. Again, I like the texture. I mean, the textures are the same between the bronzer and the blush. We'll see about the highlighter. If this stays in place well throughout the day, I probably will end up buying that bronzer in the next shade. To set everything, I am going to use the Essence Flawless Skin Trio. I just used this in a video where I was testing out some new Essence makeup products, and I really love this product, but it was clear that I used a little bit too much. So I'm going to use it again, but I'm going to use a very, very small amount of this. Like I really worked this into the sponge. This is a very matte powder, but it's also extremely lightweight. Like I feel like this could easily become one of my favorite powders during the spring and the summer. Right now, it's winter, my skin's a little bit dry. I don't really need a super matte powder overall, but it really stayed in place well. Like it locked my makeup in. In that initial video though, I just used a little bit too much and I don't think I need it all over my face, just mainly in my T-zone where I tend to get a little bit oily. So with this powder, you get 3 shades. You get a lilac, a pink, and then also a peach. And then it comes with this little like insert, so you can use one shade on its own or take that out and mix all of them together. So it's kind of nice because everyone is coming out with like these purple powders, these pink powders, but if you aren't sure which one to try or you just don't want to spend the money on like a more expensive alternative, you can get a couple of different shades in a really nice formula for like $6. I don't know what happened. There is glitter on my face. Do you see it right here? It's like all right here, which I just set it, so it's not going anywhere. And then it's right here too. So I don't know if it's actually falling. I swear it wasn't on there initially, or if I used a brush that had glitter on it. It looks like it's still on my eyes. We'll see. I'm going to update you in the comments. Check the pinned comment below because I have a feeling not all of these are going to be winners this time. I've been doing a lot of these videos like testing out new makeup and I have tried so many good products, But I think this time around, I might have tried a couple that just weren't the most ideal. It might have been full-on fails. We'll see. I don't anticipate everything is going to wear extremely well throughout the day. For the brows, I have the Milani Stay Put Brow Mousse, which I have been loving so much. I did do like a full review of this product because I've been using it for the last few weeks, and it just makes such a difference. My number one tip with this, which I don't even know if I did it well enough today, is to like fully wipe off that spoolie. Scrape it off on the sides until you have like no product left, because initially, like this applies, I think I went in with a little bit too much. Initially, this applies just a little bit too much product. But wow, this makes such a difference and so fast. Like if you have sparse brows, I'm telling you, this is a nice product. It's just very easy to go in with a little bit too much product, which is fine. I mean, you can just wipe it away. It's probably more ideal if you do your brows first with this product. I just can't get on board with doing my brows first. Every time I do my brows first and then I do my foundation afterwards, I feel like it makes my brows look a little bit weird. Anyway, I'm going to give that a second to dry, and then I'll fill in my brows with a brow tint pen. In the meantime, while that's drying, I'm just going to take a little bit of this shadow and run it on the lower lash line. This look will come together, but it has been a little bit of a process to get here. To finish off the eyes, I'm just going to take this shade right here, which again looks deeper in the pan, but on my skin, I feel like it's pretty light, pretty soft, and just run that on my brow bone. And then I will do mascara and I guess finish up with the lips. I do have a new mascara from LA Girl. This is the Supercharged Maxed Out Volume Mascara. It's supposed to provide lifted volume, fuller lashes, and then full-on length. I don't think there's actually been a lot of new mascara launches in 2025 so far. The only one I've tried is the CoverGirl one, which I think again came out end of 2024. So here's what the wand looks like. Definitely a wand that I would typically like, so let's apply it to the eyes. Okay, I think I'm going to like this. You know how you can just tell with mascara? At least I can. Like, I feel like that initial swipe on the eyes tells me so much when I'm trying a new mascara as to whether or not I'm going to like it. This one feels like it's going to be a dramatic mascara. Like, you're definitely going to be able to layer this. Wow, it's already adding a lot of length to my eyes, to my lashes. It looks like a pretty dark mascara as well, which I typically love. So I'm already getting some volume as well. So I think it's going to be fairly easy to build this one up. Let me apply the initial layer and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here's the initial first layer. It's looking pretty dramatic. I do have a feeling this could maybe get a little bit clumpy if you build it up too much. I am going to go in with a second coat though and just see. It might be the type of mascara where I need my like lash separator, but it's looking good. I do prefer a little bit more of a dramatic mascara most of the time. If I want something really light and soft, I'll go for like the lash extender from e.l.f. But for the most part, I do like something that can be built up, even if I have to end up combing it out a little bit. Okay, here's what the mascara looks like built up on the lashes. I think it looks pretty dramatic. There's a good amount of volume, some length as well. It's not the most separating mascara. So if you like your lashes like really defined and separated and you can't stand any clumping, this isn't going to be the formula for you. But if you do like something a little bit more dramatic, even if there is some slight clumping, like you can see it right here on this lash, then I think you'll like this because it was fairly easy to build. It's not a super dry formula, but it's also not really wet. It's like that perfect in between where, you know, when you open a mascara and it dries out a little bit, like that's what this one feels like, but right from the beginning. So I think I'm going to like it. As long as it doesn't flake or smudge, I probably will end up reaching for this quite a bit on days where I do want more of a dramatic lash look. I think I'm still going to do a red lip. I don't usually do pink eyes and a red lip, but that was my initial plan. Where did it go? I did buy this red liquid lipstick from CoverGirl. It's the Outlast Forever Velvet Pigment, and I picked up the shade Velvet Waves. At this point, I don't really have a lot of liquid lipsticks in my collection, and there was a day where I wanted like a red traditional liquid lipstick, like something I knew I could apply and it would stay in place until I actually took it off at the end of the night. And I don't think I even have one of these in my collection right now. So I decided to go with red for that reason. Usually if I'm wearing a liquid lipstick, it's typically like a red or a super deep berry, something that wouldn't be ideal in a formula that would end up moving and smudging throughout the day. This formula does come in 12 different shades. They say it lasts up to 16 hours and it feels so comfortably smooth. It's supposed to be an ultra thin, weightless formula that doesn't crack or crumble. So that honestly sounds ideal when it comes to a liquid lipstick. I don't usually love liquid lipstick these days, or I haven't, I guess, over the last few years because comfort has been my main concern when it comes to lip products. But sometimes you need something that locks down and does not move. And as long wearing as some of my favorite like red regular formula lipsticks are, they're not as long wearing as like a traditional liquid lipstick. I'm just going to line my lips with this red liner from ColourPop. This is the Lippy Pencil in the shade Bossy. Normally I would test this without a liner, but I feel like when it comes to red, I have to line my lips first. Otherwise, I just make a complete mess and I can't get the lines super crisp with just the regular liquid lipstick applicator. Okay, I absolutely love the color of this lipstick. I haven't worn red lipstick in what feels like forever, and I love the fact that I know it's not going anywhere because it is a liquid lipstick. Like this is on, it's not moving. So I just applied it. I mean, it's dried down at this point. It does feel very light on the lips. It's not the same like thick, almost dry texture I feel like I think of when I think of a liquid lipstick, but it's also not like the most comfortable thing I've ever worn. It definitely doesn't feel like a traditional lipstick. It's obviously, I mean, I guess this comes down to personal preference, but it's not as comfortable to me as like a lip oil, a lip gloss. But again, I like that I know it's not moving anywhere, and this makes me want to pull out all of my reds and wear them again. I am going to wear it all day long, so I'll be able to see if it stays in place well, if it cracks, crumbles, or if it's uncomfortable. Some liquid lipsticks end up just still bleeding in like the corners of my mouth, and we'll see if that happens with this one. I mean, again, like it's on there, it's not moving anywhere. I just don't know if it's going to be anything super special compared to other liquid lipsticks I've tried in the past. Okay, to finish things up, I am going to go in with the highlighter stick. I will say this is the only one that broke on me. When I opened it up, the actual highlighter was out of the packaging, and I was kind of surprised at how little it was. Like you don't really get a ton of product in here. You get 0.21 ounces. It's the same case for the blush and bronzer as well. So, I mean, out of curiosity, this is a drugstore product, but I don't have a ton of other cream drugstore sticks. The Makeup by Mario ones come with 0.37. Again, obviously that's a high-end brand, but that's just what I initially thought of. LYS Beauty, their blushes come with 0.21 ounces too. So not a ton. Oh, the Merit highlighter sticks only come with 0.14 ounces. So just based on like those quick findings, I'll try to do some more thorough comparisons before I come back and do like a full update on this. It seems like that's, you know, to be expected. I'm just going to take this brush. It's the BK Beauty Nikki LaRose N14. Normally I use this as like a concealer brush, but I just want to apply a little bit of this to my cheeks and see how it applies. Okay. I don't know if I love this. It's kind of sparkly looking. The bronzer and blush didn't have any shimmer or any glitter. Yeah, I don't love this on me. At first I was thinking maybe it would be a good alternative to the Merit highlighter sticks, which I love. There's like a big chunk of glitter right here from the highlighter stick. I don't think I love this at all. This has that like same satin texture, which is actually really nice for the contour and the blush. But for a highlight, I almost prefer something a little bit more on the slippery side because this doesn't melt into the skin in the most flattering way. Just initially, I don't love it. I did apply it to lightly set makeup, so maybe it would apply better if I was using it just alongside of the other creams before setting my makeup into place. But just based on the fact that it is kind of like that satin texture, that satin finish, I don't know if it will be my favorite. I am just going to take a little bit as an inner corner highlight though. I wonder how these would perform on the eyes. Because they aren't so overly creamy, I feel like maybe they could be good cream eyeshadows too. Okay, honestly, that was a little bit of a roller coaster. I feel like I've been filming a lot of these videos recently, and every time I film one, I'm like, there are so many good products. I can't wait to wear these again. I can't wait to try them again. And today I'm like, I don't know about some of these. I feel like some of them could potentially be really good. And maybe it was like partially wearing all of these together and partially just not being on my A game when it comes to makeup application today. But this video had its ups and downs. I will say that this is probably the best formula I tried in today's video. Obviously, this is not my most ideal shade, but this blush is so pretty. I honestly can't wait to wear this again. I feel like it is such a gorgeous formula. It has the blendability I'm looking for when it comes to a cream. It has good pigment, and there are brighter, more vibrant shades. This is one of the softer shades, but for me, I feel like that's perfect. I like the way this is sitting on my skin, the way it went on with the brush, and that kind of surprises me because CoverGirl can be really hit and miss for me. Sometimes their products are great, sometimes they aren't. Like, they don't always do it for me, honestly, but I'm glad I picked these up because initially I skipped over them. I can't wait to wear this blush again, and if these wear well throughout the day, I probably will grab this in a different color. I think the lipstick looks really, really beautiful. I don't know if it's going to be anything super special, so if you own a lot of liquid lipsticks, I wouldn't say like run out and buy this one, but if you're like me and you've kind of gotten rid of them over the years because you haven't been into that type of formula and you are looking to try another one, this could potentially be a good option. I have to wear it all day to know for sure, but I'll update you in the comments. I don't know, I'm torn on these palettes because I love the way the eye look came together. It looks really soft, very, very pretty. The formula feels nice. Like, I like that almost cream to powder. It's not your typical cream, your typical powder. Very easy to blend, and it gives your eyes like a nice smooth look. And then, you know, the sparkly shadows are very wet looking on the eyes, but it is a very, very soft formula. And I don't know that you can build it up to be too intense, which might be fine if that's what you're looking for. But if you do want shadows that are going to show up pretty intensely, this probably won't be the most ideal formula. The only thing is, I mean, I do have some glitter on my face, so I do think I maybe need to use this type of formula with a stickier base, which when it comes to ColourPop, I don't have that issue. I know some people do, but those stay in place really well for me, and I usually just apply concealer and like set it with powder and I'm good to go. This I almost think it's already creasing. I mean, and it's been like an hour since I've started applying this makeup. So just based on like my initial observations, I don't think these are going to be the most long wearing shadows, but I will test them with a stickier base as well between now and the time this video goes up so I can update you in the comments. I definitely want to wear this on its own without the CoverGirl products underneath. I didn't even wear the blush today, but I think this is a really beautiful formula. Very, very similar to the ColourPop Super Shock blushes or cheek products, but I mean, you get two different options for $8 compared to ColourPop, where I'm pretty sure one Super Shock cheek product is $10. Again, they do have two deeper options. So keep in mind, if you're buying this product, it is pretty sheer, pretty soft. So you might want to go darker than you typically would when it comes to a blush and a bronzer. So far, I do like the mascara. I like that it's a little bit more dramatic, went on super easily. I just hope it stays in place well and doesn't flake or smudge. And this is interesting. I don't think this is the most ideal shade for me, so I kind of want to try it in the gold shade. I think this is a pretty color, and if you want more of a rosy, bronzy shade, you might like this, but I do think this is going to be best mixed with an incredibly hydrating base. Whether you're using like a serum type texture or a full-on moisturizer, on its own, this dries so extremely fast. I can't imagine it's going to be ideal as a liquid highlighter. I think it's going to be best as a base, but like mixed in with something. Or maybe if you just prep your skin really well, you could go in with this product on top. I had done my skincare like a few hours ago, so that might have something to do with it too. But again, that's why follow-up testing is important. And I will come back and share some updates, some full reviews with you once I really put these products to the test. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you very soon with a new one. Bye.